Let's do it.
Welcome to another episode of Zero Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I'm so excited to have on a 47-year-old from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, a sixth rounder of the St. Louis Blues. His hockey journey has taken him to Canada, the USA, England, Northern Ireland, where his number 44 is retired. Same number as his first shed visit, episode 44, which had 1,299 folks to the shed. He has hit Justin Bieber status in Cardiff, Wales. As a player, mucked around with the Vernon Lakers and Bowling Green State University, then headed to the UK and the Bracknell Bees and never left, becoming a living legend of British ice hockey. Won it 2 times with those Bees, then won it with the Belfast Giants twice, and became an EIHL second team all-star like yours truly. But he is best known for running amok of the EIHL as a general manager and recruiting countless shed guys. He ran the show with those Giants for 7 years before taking over the Cardiff Devils and promptly starting a dynasty in the Shed's honey hole. Overall, as a GM, 1 KO Cup, 3 Challenge Cups, 4 playoffs, and 4 league titles. And the crazy asshole even hosted a Wally night. Welcome back to the Shed, Todd Kelman.
That's the best intro I've ever heard.
Oh, yeah, no,
If this wasn't
huh?
if this wasn't live, like if this wasn't video, you could actually pretend you rattled that off. That was impressive.
Mm-hmm. I try to improve each time,
Yeah. How
Yeah.
do you feel you're doing? Are you feel you're improving?
I don't know. I'm still having fun. That's really all I care.
I feel like you're really improving. From
I'm not as
like I really
nervous
do.
and
I think you've gotten better.
I'm not getting as crushed
Maybe
either
not.
as the start.
That's what I was gonna say. You're not
A
as
little bit
drunk
more of
either.
a pro now, right? I'm not bagging back like 6 to 8. But I had a lot to get off my chest there at the start. Feel a lot better now.
Yeah.
So I get into how we know each other. You were episode 44. That's a long time ago.
What are you at now? What number are you at now?
233.
My God, you're just cranking them out, aren't you?
Crushing
Like
them.
it's incredible, honestly.
But honestly,
Like
my
these
days are better when it's a shed day. My day is a better day. I'm more excited. I wake up happier. I'm a more fun guy to be around when it's a shed day. Or if it's
it's like
been a
it's a
shed day
game day,
before.
right?
It is.
Yeah,
This is like
it's like a game day for you.
that's like when I say it's record time, I say game on because this is like my games now. Okay. But since you came on that first time, let's see here. I saw you in person at the Matthew Myers testimonial. Not for very
You
long.
know, no, not for very long at all. I was gonna say that this feels like more of a catch up. Like I saw you and Pigsy in the locker room for like an hour, and we laughed for an hour, and then
And
then
then
that
that was
was
it.
it. That was
That was
pretty
it.
much
I
it. Because
did
you
I did want to thank you for my intro out onto the ice that night though. You said Ed coming all the way, we got him out of the shed or whatever, and got him all the way across the pond. So thanks for shouting out the shed when I came on the ice there. I noticed.
you've got a real cult following in the UK now. Like I see jerseys popping up everywhere. I see jerseys. I see hoodies. It's hilarious. There's a little group of fans and wearing them to our games now. It's awesome.
And it is awesome. And thank you, Shed family, for supporting me. And I have even dabbled into some other markets, like Manchester. We're trying to start a chocolate storm there now. Because Fun's been
Yeah,
banned in
you got
Sheffield right after Kit Kat get that. Fun was banned, so
blame Evan Mosey for that one. That was actually pretty comical because they had to do a
that
web story about it.
it was awesome. Like, man, there's so many, and so I
Well,
guess
there's so many people there, right? Like that's the thing. There's so many people going to those games. It's kind of
and
a
then the team
testament to
got
their.
behind me, right, and shared it. And
Yeah.
like they put it out there, and Mosey even said, like, we can't have peanuts, it's Kit Kat, get that. And then it just went
Yeah.
wild.
You, well,
Yeah.
you know what? It's you got to blame Simsy for that, right? He gets on top of something, and you know what? You got to love that. Like as much as they're our big rival, you got to respect that organization for how many people there are going to games. So you tell 9,000 people to buy a Kit Kat, and 20% of them buy. That's a lot of Kit Kats.
It was a lot of Kit Kats. It was
I
cool.
remember.
But
Yeah.
so I guess that really still started on your ice, and I haven't even talked to you about this. I didn't even get your permission. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than permission, right?
that stuff. I love that. I thought it was great. So I
So
didn't
did
even I didn't even understand. I didn't even understand how it happened. I just thought Matt Carruth had asked for Kit Kats, right?
Twix.
And
He's
I
a
thought, oh,
Twix
they
guy.
just. Oh yeah, he's a Twix guy. Yeah, and then it was Buenos or whatever for the
Buenos for the
boys, and then
boys.
it was.
Buenos for the boys is
You have
my
no.
under 11 Concardant Canucks, and they
Oh,
loved
okay.
it. So
So then we start like we would go in the locker room after, and so this is why I can't imagine what Sheffield. We would have two, those like Tesco bag for lives
yeah,
or another favorite grocery store brand. I'm not promoting Tesco over anyone else, but basically those bags for life. We'd have two or three of those filled with chocolate bars, and we couldn't give them. We couldn't give them away. We'd take them out to kids. Like there's probably so many rotting teeth on
yeah.
children in Cardiff because of and
Yeah,
Sheffield
dentists are
even
going to be
more.
doing well in the future because of me, right?
Yeah,
But it's also
exactly.
Carruth was winning, and they were only allowed to throw him if you guys won, right? So winning's fun.
Yeah, no,
Have
that's
you
good.
seen
Yeah,
what's
we'll take
happened
that.
in Denmark since?
No, no.
Uh,
Is it a crazy
well,
Twix?
apparently, like they were just dabbling in it. They were throwing about 100 or 200, and then he was going
Yeah.
for a shutout record one game, and the fans went to Germany and bought box loads of Twix. And then when they won the game, it was crazy. Twix
Yeah, they
everywhere.
unloaded. They
Oh,
unloaded.
it was like Sheffield, but I saw the live video of them coming out. It was nuts. So
That's
a
awesome.
lot of
That's
fun
great.
has happened from here. But shout out to your shed guys that you recruit that started that. Like, so I had my Concardant Canucks on last season, and like I just asked guys that I didn't even know before I started this. Dicko, Matt Register, and Carruth all came on and met with my kids when it was nighttime over there. And I just appreciate it so much. And then Sam Duggan came on to meet with three of my players, one of them my son. And that's when we did Buenos for the boys. And that, like, you have those type of people on your teams that will come on for my kids. And
Yeah.
then we can make that shit happen, man. It makes my heart want to explode. So thanks, Sam Duggan.
Good guys, all of them,
Well,
all
and
good
and
guys.
Dougie even made a little video saying happy birthday to Evan for me. And
Oh
so
wow, nice,
yeah.
nice.
And he likes to watch the videos of me naked in the locker room. Did you know that?
That's a whole different podcast, I think, on a whole different internet site.
Yeah. Yeah, those can't go on the internet, folks. Keep those ones in your phone.
Yeah,
So
easy.
anyways, one of those guys we should bring up that I was talking about is Steven Dixon. So since then
Yeah.
he left Cardiff,
Wow.
goes to Glasgow. Now he's a coach.
I know that happened quick, right? It's funny because he went to Glasgow because he's one of my favorite guys I've ever had on a team. I love him. I absolutely love him as a guy. Just a gem of a person. I actually had
I think
dinner
that's
with him.
pretty unanimous across his
Yeah,
teammates. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And we went out for dinner with him the night before he was leaving, and he was like, he's one of the guys. He's like Hotham. He always calls me Toddy, right? You remember Hotham used to call me that, Toddy. And so Dick would be like, "Oh, Toddy, you got one more year left for me?" And I'm like, "Oh, absolutely, Dicko." And so I just kind of thought it was a done deal. And then the next time I talked to him, he was like, "Yeah, I'm thinking of signing in Glasgow." And then I was like, "Oh, you don't want to you don't want to do that. You want to come back here?" And he's like, "No, no, he's Malcolm's talked to me about being a player coach." And I was like, "Listen, if you want to be a player coach, you can come be a player coach in Cardiff, right? Like we would love to have you." He just kept going on and on about like, Malcolm, he's known him his whole life. He knows him from coaching. And then I realized, like, just knowing Dick, I was like, "Dicko, have you already signed with him?" He goes, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I have." And I was like, "All right, then this conversation, there's no point in me trying to convince you not to go." But I wasn't even mad, to be honest with you, because he's one of those guys you just, he did it for his reasons. He did it to get into coaching.
Yeah.
He probably
And it
didn't think
probably happens fast,
well,
like
yeah, but
those
like
contracts with
I
you
don't
gunslingers, they happen fast, right? You usually when you guys
they
send
do.
something, it's like you got 24 hours, right?
Oh yeah, like we smell blood. We smell
Yeah.
a
Oh
signature. We just
yeah.
get it done.
And I could see
Um,
that's what they would have done to him. It was like, don't even talk to
yeah,
Toddy.
yeah,
Sign it.
exactly.
Sign
Yeah,
it right
because
now.
they
Don't even
know,
talk to him.
they know if he talked to me, he'd probably be back here right now. But
But he wouldn't be
in
a
fairness,
head
like
coach.
no, exactly. And the thing is, if
Things
you
work
wanted to
out
get
for
into
a reason,
coaching,
right?
yeah.
That's all.
And you know what? every good head coach probably has a funny story about how they got into coaching, right? Like Lordo got into coaching because he got a concussion and had to sit on the bench for a year and couldn't play, and he started doing video, and that's what made him realize he wanted to be a coach, right? And the only way you get a coaching job is because someone gets fired. Like Brodie DuPont. Like we fired Jared Scaldi, and Brodie DuPont gets an opportunity. Now he's a head coach. He probably jumped over 5 years of being an assistant coach to get into a head coaching job. So,
but it's sometimes it just happens.
Yeah, and I hope Dicko. I hope Dicko gets to stick around as coach, and I think the guys probably would love playing for him for sure. He's such a good guy.
He sure messed up my chocolate storm on Sunday, so thanks, Dicko.
Oh yeah, 4-point weekend for the Clan.
I know, pumped. And then it's
probably the only team I cheer for. Yeah,
well, I was cheering for chocolate that night, but I also cheer for Dicko. So I get really confused now that there's so many shed guys all over the place because I cheer for people. I don't know, but I obviously am a Devils fan. That because of what you assholes did for me. You guys brought me back. Like I don't mean for the game. I mean you brought me back. Whatever. I'm not getting choked up. Shut up.
Hey Wally, what about the next Wally night? Like, we got to make this an annual tradition or a biannual tradition.
Well, I definitely.
Do you think you'd be divorced if I invited you over?
Well,
your wife would be okay with it?
No, I think we have to bring the family next. And if next time I come, I have to bring Colby and Zoe. Colby keeps talking about getting to be one of those warm-up kids, right? Like that get to go out for warm-up.
Yeah. One of the mascots.
Yeah, and like Zoe plays now too,
Is she?
But no,
maybe Colby can get my kids into hockey. They don't play hockey yet. They're still dabbling in rugby. They haven't picked up the hockey bug yet.
That is how we know each other. Is our sons played rugby together? That's part of the notes here. But no, Colby's as into it as a kid can be. Like it's
that's awesome.
Yeah,
I've seen him. I've seen a couple of his highlights that you put out there.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his old man scoring touch, doesn't he?
Yeah, but not the body type yet, so that's good. Still got abs.
Give him time.
But yeah, no, anyways, where are we here? No, I would love to come back, especially with the family while they're still young and busy times though. It's so I've put my name in. I just said this on the last episode. I talk about actually this is later on. I was talking about when you take over Cardiff, right? In 2014 to like where you guys are at now. So there's never been a AAA team in this area for my son's age. They have the other age groups, but they haven't started his age group. And I put my name in for next season to be the guy that starts this team. And I really hope I get it because it would kind of remind me of what you were doing.
Nice. So this is what AAA. How does it work? I don't know how it works in Canada anymore because it's not Pee Wee anymore, is it?
Well, it would be old minor Pee Wee. So under 12s but they've never had a team yet because of all the baloney. Nobody got started this year, so they're taking coaching applications right now. And I do have my name in.
You've got experience. You got pro experience.
I still remember at the time when I was helping the power play. I still remember this because now I don't get as nervous talking to people like I used to. We were in the big blue tent. We're playing Nottingham, and they were doing some weird shit on the penalty kill. The centerman, so the winger in front of the net was going out to the guy on the wall, the D-man on the wall if we won it. And then the centerman would then they'd scissor and he'd try and get to the middle guy. And I watched it and I sit in between periods. I was explaining to the guys, I'm like, if that defenseman on the wall, we win it there. And while they're doing their scissor, if we get it to the guy in the middle, he's going to be able to walk right down the pipe. And I remember telling them that, and I was so nervous because you were watching me talk to them about it, and I wasn't a player anymore. And then they went out and they did it. I remember they passed it over to Deuce, and he walked right down the pipe, and the goalie saved it.
Yeah, but you know what? Honestly, you have a good hockey mind. You're a great player, so you'll make a good coach, and people love you, and kids love you. So hopefully
I can get the job because you know what? Yeah. I think I like coaching more than playing. I think I might be better at it.
Really? That's good though.
Yeah, that's but good. I hope I can get the job because I'd really like to do this with the little fellas.
Let's just run a smear campaign against whoever else is up for the job.
I wonder who else put their name in. I be curious, but doesn't always go your way in this minor hockey stuff.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
So you guys just had the Continental Cup, eh?
Yeah. Yeah,
ran
yeah, it
amok.
was good. Yeah, it was good. It was the best team in it besides us was the French team Angers. They were really good, and we
Couple shed
played.
guys on that team, Cam Brown and
Oh, really?
Brandon
Yeah,
Harms. Yeah.
Cam Brown. Yeah, Cam Brown's a player that we looked at a couple times. I really like him. He did. He only played the. I think he played the. I don't. I think he played against us. Then he didn't play Saturday. I think he played Sunday again. But he's a good little player. Really like him.
He's a good
We
little
looked at him.
guy, is what he is.
Is he was? Did we look? Are you buddies with him? Like, is that how we looked? I know me and
I met him.
Lordo
I met
looked
him
at him.
through this.
Oh,
But he
really?
he is a shed guy. Yeah, he's a really good dude. And so
Yeah.
is
No, we.
Brandon Harms. The way I had him on was when I was raising money. It was for Cam Brown's old line mate. That's from here, from Ripley.
Yeah.
And Brandon Harms just randomly bought like $100 worth of tickets, and I didn't know who he was. And I was
Yeah.
like, whoever you are, man, come to my shed. You're a
Yeah.
good dude. And he didn't even
Yeah.
know the guy I was raising money for. He was just, he
Oh,
knew
just a good
Cam, and
guy.
they knew if he was helping. Shed guys know shed guys, you know?
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. No, I really like that Cam guy. Angers was the best team besides us. They put up a good fight. We actually played really, really well on Friday night, and not that anyone in the league cares, because the rest of the league want you to play well in the Continental Cup, so you advance, so you get more tired. But it was fun to be a part of, and we're looking forward to the final. Yeah, and
I
our guys, honestly, the guys played the best game of the year, probably the most consistent game of the year, as a group on Friday for sure.
Well, that's awesome that you guys got her done. I remember being in the
Yeah,
Continental Cup in Sunderjuski, and then we were hosting it, and
yeah.
we got one tie. Yeah. We tied the Hungarian team. We lost the other two games. Yeah. They were pretty thrilled with us after that weekend.
I bet. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Did Thomas Murdy have to do the laundry for every team?
He did. That is a good question. He did do the laundry for all teams, and
That's a lot of laundry.
well, the only thing we got a towel service for the weekend, so he didn't have to do towels. So we spent like $2,000 on towels. We got like 900 towels. So every team had. We just basically threw them in a pile, and his company came and picked them up. So we just didn't think physically there was enough time to do towels for 4 teams. So, but yeah, he worked. He put in a lot of hours. That's for sure.
Those
So
equipment guys are animals, aren't they? They can put
yeah,
in some hours. But I guess you do
yeah.
too, right? Like, let's be honest, you've slept in your office before, haven't you?
I have slept in my office
You're
numerous
kind of
times.
like an equipment guy.
Yeah, I've slept in my office out of necessity, and I've also slept in my office due to weather because I don't handle the heat well. So I've slept a couple times just to be close to the ice surface, so it's nice and cool, free air conditioning. My wife doesn't like that. I sneak out of the house and go sleep at the office sometimes, but that's just in the summer months. So,
Jeez. We have air conditioning over here.
yeah, not here, not here.
Here's a random question, since I have a business brain now that you helped me get my MBA. How does it work with the Continental Cup then? 4 teams show up in Cardiff. You guys host it and do all the work, but like, do you guys
Yeah,
split the money because they made it there?
no. So basically, the double IHF gives you a fee for hosting. So you put in to host, you get money to host, but then you have to pay for every single thing that besides getting them into the country. From the moment they land at the airport, you have to pay for everything. So you have to pay for the bus from the airport, their equipment transfer, all their hotels, all their bus transfers, like back and forth to the rink every day for practice and for games, all their food, all the ice time, everything. You have to pay for everything besides their flights into the country. So
And who pays
um,
for that?
we paid for it. So
No, like, who pays for the flight?
oh, the team does. So Angers actually took their bus. Angers have a sick team bus. Like, they have a sleeper bus. It's awesome. But like, so Jesenici from Slovenia, they paid their flights. So let's say they spend, I don't know, $5,000 on flights, and then from the moment they land, it's our responsibility to pay for everything. Um, and to be honest with you, it's not like a huge moneymaker. You probably, when it was all said and done, we probably made the equivalent of a normal Devils game, like what we would make on a. So the benefit
But
of
it's
hosting,
pretty
I guess,
cool to
is
host something like that.
yeah,
I hosted
yeah.
a couple pond hockey tournaments with my under 11s and built trophies. And man, I was pretty proud of those days.
Yeah, it's same thing, exactly the same thing.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah,
The
pretty much
parents were all
exactly
doing
the same.
shots of
Yeah.
Fireball. It really became a family that day.
So the only issue was, you can imagine, you know our rink. you're hosting 4 teams. So you've got the Devils room, you've got the away locker room, which isn't very big. And then you've got to find a way to have 2 more teams. So we actually there's no ice on the small pad. So we actually put rubber matting and chairs down on the small pad. And we basically put curtains in between, like divided the small pad in half. I think the teams really liked it because they had a ton of space, but the IIHF officials were not that thrilled with the setup. But there was nothing like, I mean, it was as good as it was going to get. We explained it in the application process, but I think it's difficult for any rink to have enough space for 4 big pro teams, Yeah. But it did the job. And I think the benefit we had with our hosting committee, which is basically just us, the staff, was we've got some really friendly faces, and Katrina, led the way on that. They absolutely loved Katrina. She did the majority of the organization. So she was the contact for most of the teams. And me apologizing for things versus her apologizing with a smile on her face, they're gonna be happier with her.
A little more receptive to that.
Yeah,
she does always have a smile on her face.
Yeah, exactly.
So they would dress in the spare rink pad, and then they would come out onto the ice on the opposite side as normal.
Yeah. So basically, how
and you guys kept your locker room the whole weekend.
Yeah. So what we did is the French team and the Latvian team basically split the small pad, but they each had 2 the 2 locker rooms. So dressing room 1 and 2, they had a coach's room, they had a physio room, and then they walked out and they had a room built. I actually thought it was like, when I asked Merds about it, he said he would rather have that set up than the away locker room, because the away locker room is pretty small and there's not like separate facilities for like doctors or for physio or for a coach or anything. So I thought it was pretty good. It was as good as it was going to get. So.
I remember when that rink was being built, you had a couple of adjustments you would have made. I remember our chat about it.
Oh, about 20. Yeah. About 20. I don't know who the architect was, but he certainly.
It's too bad that you never got to design it, right? Because I mean, I'm just thinking out loud. My guess is the seats would be up all the way to the glass.
Seats would be all the way to the glass. The benches wouldn't be double benches, like with 2 rows. They'd be a normal hockey bench that you could sit on.
Yeah.
Yeah. There might
but in that testimonial game, I had to hit the back row a few times. That's when you're really tired.
Yeah. There's a lot of flaws in that building for sure. We shouldn't complain because it's a great building, and you
get to host shit like that, right?
Yeah, but there's just not enough locker room space for even.
And
for
the problem is when you do something like that, you only get to do it once, right? It's not.
Yeah.
You don't get to do it again for a long time. But
okay,
back on track. What else do I got? Did the other teams make it to Chippy Lane that weekend?
They did.
Good for them.
The Latvian team, was it the Slovenian team came in a day early, and I think they enjoyed Cardiff on the Wednesday night. I think they enjoyed Cardiff, and because
that's old school hockey, right?
Yeah, because a couple of our volunteers ran into them on Chippy Lane at about 2 a.m. on Wednesday night. So a couple of our students ran into them. So they had a good time. And it was a rugby international weekend, right? So imagine the guys playing the early game on Saturday, walk out of their hotel. They're staying at the Clayton Hotel, which basically looks down the road.
That's where I stayed. That's where I stayed for Myers's. Yeah, it's right there.
So it's just tempting. It's calling out to you to come outside.
It is a party on French fries. I was going to say on wheels, but it's a party on chips.
Yeah, it's a good. But Cardiff
when was the last time you hit Chippy Lane?
You know what? Not Chippy Lane, but right around Chippy Lane. You'll love this. We had a staff night out at a Billy Idol concert like 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
so Corky got us all tickets to Billy. Yes, Billy Idol is still alive, and yes, he can still perform. And we went to the Cardiff Arena, whatever it's called, CIAO or Motor Point, whatever they're calling it these days. The one right in town there, and we all went out, and about I don't know 1:30 in the morning. We were all eating chips, standing over like we had all our food, I think, on like a electrical box or something. And we ran into 2 of the players who were probably not supposed to be out, and we weren't supposed to be out. So we didn't know who was in more trouble, because the next day we saw each other. They had a day off the next day, but it was funny because we ran into them.
They had a day off the next day and they weren't supposed to have fun?
No, they were allowed to have fun, but it was just funny because on their faces. I was going to say,
I don't think I'd fit it, because if I had a day off in pro hockey, shoes go time.
when they saw us, when they saw us, they were as shocked as when I saw them. And then the next morning, they said to me, they said, "You looked more scared than I did when I saw you at 2 a.m." So, and that was mostly because I had a Big Mac jammed in my mouth and probably shouldn't be eating that at my age, you know.
So you're going to Big Mac. You're getting a Big Mac late night, eh?
Big,
You ever
yeah,
dabble
not
into the
good.
kebab game?
No, I've never been a kebab guy. I probably could count on one
I don't
hand
even know how we
my
get along anymore.
my 25 years in the UK. I think I've had one or two kebabs. Don't like them. Also, don't like fish and chips, Wally. If you can believe it. I know my
I
body
can't
type
believe it.
doesn't say that. But
I I'm disgusted right now. I
I
can't
know.
believe you've said these things to me.
I know. I
Oh,
know.
how many times have you tried it?
Fish and chips
Kebabs? No, I
once.
don't care about
Oh,
fish and chips.
kebabs.
Have you tried
Probably.
like that? So I guess Chippy Lane though, it doesn't have high end kebabs. If those are the places you're going, you're not going to fully understand.
Do you
You
know? Do you
get to
know?
the places in Germany where they're rolling out fresh dough and putting it in pizza ovens and wrapping French fries in there that are also fresh. My word.
Do you know where I had the last kebab I had? You know, Urge, our osteopath.
Oh yeah.
Urge, Urge for
He's the
the.
guy that fixed my knee and got me what you guys saw me for another year.
Yeah, exactly. So Urge had for the coronation, the Queen's was it the 75th? I don't know, was it whatever was in the summer, the 75th year of her being queen. Um, the Jubilee celebrations, whatever it was. He had a party, and it was because Urge is actually where's he from? I think he's from Cyprus, but
Cyprus.
he went down to his local kebab shop and asked the guys where he could get a kebab, and he bought a kebab machine and he bought the meat off there and he just sliced up kebabs because he wanted to be a real British celebration. So half the people were dressed fancy and having cucumber sandwiches, and the other half, like me and Corky,
We're
were having
crushing
kebabs.
kebabs. Oh,
That and he dressed like he dressed the part. And he was slicing up
shaving them
kebabs.
off.
Yeah, shaving them off.
Oh.
We weren't sure. We were all got a little sick the next day, so I don't know if it was the kebabs or the alcohol, but
Well, that guy's a beauty, Urge. He
he's a
like
beauty.
I remember that. That was when my knee was really not doing well there at the start of that first year. And then he got me
Yeah,
all
he's a good
fixed
man.
up there until it just couldn't get fixed up anymore. Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So how is your team doing? Or no, one more thing before we move on is I did have on your new coach after I guess you did
Yeah,
leave
yeah.
the guy. So can I bring that up since we've never talked about it since? Is
Yeah.
how do you decide to make the coaching change before the playoffs? I do speak with a bunch of people in my shed, so I generally have ideas of how things were going and what was going on. But how do you make the decision before playoffs that this is the time and we've got to make the change now?
Um, it it was not like it looks like a genius move now. At the time you're really nervous about it because I just felt last year we had a great team. We had a great group of guys. Um, and I thought we could win something, but I just didn't think, I just didn't think we had the right guy
Yeah.
behind the bench. That's the truth. And Jared Scaldy's a great guy, and he's a good coach, and I think he's a great coach. And I think maybe at a different point in his career he would have been the right guy, but I just for whatever reason it wasn't a good fit. Um, and what it made me realize is, I still talk to him now, and I think probably I'll stay in touch with him. It's just sometimes things don't work out, and yeah, it was weird. I just kind of felt I just didn't feel right. I didn't think that it was the right, the right person in charge, and
The right
I made
fit.
the yeah, and me. I'm about culture and making sure that everyone's kind of buying in and pulling in the same direction, and for whatever reason, I just felt that we needed to make a change, and at the time, I didn't really talk to too many people about it, but the people I did talk to about it was basically Franny. I talked to Franny about it. I talked to Katrina about it. I talked to the owners about it, and I said, like, I know that I I'm going to make a change in the off season, but why would I wait till the off season? Because I think this team could do something.
Yeah.
Why don't I just do it? Why don't I just do it now? And I think when I said why don't I just do it now, I didn't think they probably didn't think that I meant that day, but that's what I meant. So
Well, that's how like it's the same when I decide I'm gonna do something. It's time to do it.
yeah, yeah. But what it made me realize is with any company, if you realize that someone's not the right fit, you should just get rid of them then rather than waiting, because you always want people to change, but it
Yeah.
doesn't always work. So
It's interesting. So like, yeah. I don't like saying nice things to people in my shed, but you're a bit of a mentor to me, you know, when I watched you start a team and all that shit. But I'm not saying anything nice to you, but I did in the real world have to make a roster change last week. And
Oh, really?
it was similar situation. Just
It's tough. It's tough.
but
Like,
it's interesting, right? Some roles aren't for people in life. And you know, like
yeah,
I the guy was a great dude and he's probably going to do awesome at something else. We just wasn't the fit for him as a role, right?
yeah, I get it, and yeah, it certainly won't be the last time I make staff changes, and I don't just mean coaches. I mean like in general, players, staff. Like last year, we changed staff. Like we got rid of some staff last year too. And again, it was just someone just we had someone start and just wasn't the right fit, and they're
Mm-hmm.
probably better off without us, and we're probably better off without them.
Well,
So
it's like about culture, right? Like you talk about, this is not to do with my real world at all. This guy was a beauty, but like culture wise, I remember when you started the Devils, and well, we did have a kit guy or an equipment guy, and he didn't he wasn't there long, but he didn't seem too thrilled to be there each day and excited to do his job. And then you bring in Deese, right? And then
yeah,
it's just a party every day, and you're having
yeah,
fun every day, right?
yeah, and honestly, like Geese was. I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. I think the equipment guy, and he's a dad around the hockey rink now. He's a good person. He's a really
Yeah,
good guy. But like yeah, you're right. He just I think in that position you need positive. You need someone to be good at their job in that position as equipment manager and positivity. They can't be
they have
they
to be
can't
happy
be
to be there, and
yeah,
because it
yeah,
comes through the whole team as a kick guy, right?
yeah.
Yeah,
And honestly, Deese is Deese is something that I think someone that I think was a real asset that you didn't really quite realize until maybe he was gone. And I think we finally found a guy as good at the job now that we have Thomas Murdy. But I mean, Deese, it wasn't even just what he did for his job; it was the energy he brought. Right? Like it.
yeah,
Sometimes you have quiet rooms sometimes, and you have a jackass like him. Like if I could have and not just because it's you, but like someone that does the stuff that you guys did to keep the team loose. I'm telling you, you miss that. It's a different game now, and um,
yeah.
and I think with every generation, you think things get more serious and maybe less fun or whatever. But what I
And
just
more
think it is. I think
professional too,
yeah,
right?
I think that's what it is, more professional. But like when I played, I was the clown. I was doing the stuff that you were doing in the locker room, and probably not to the extent you were doing, but like that, I knew my role. Like keep it light, keep it loose, and make people laugh. And
But you may not
and
remember, when I was a player, I was a lot more serious than when I was done, right? It's not like
oh yeah,
I wasn't
yeah,
that carried away in the locker room. Like, yeah, I'd get naked and dance for the boys if they deserved it, but that's about it, right? Like I wasn't that big of a
yeah,
donkey,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I
I
was
just think
after
I
I
just
was
think
hurt.
yeah, I just think like hockey players in general, like people in general, would now that social media is such a big thing, they're maybe more reserved. They're probably more open when they're in smaller groups when they know phones aren't around and people aren't
Yes.
going to talk about it.
Phones are, I
Because
think, what changed the game the most. I think
terrible.
phones have changed everything, right? Like
Yeah,
everything can get out there in a second, and guys can't go out and even like have beers when they're not supposed to, in case like they run into fans
exactly. Well,
that decide to post it.
someone always has to post, right? So like things didn't. I remember a few years ago, the guys, they played terrible against Dundee, but they were having a Halloween party that night, and
And those things are
it,
important, whether they win or
yeah,
lost that
absolutely,
game. Those things are
absolutely.
important. You got to do those
And
things.
no, and Lordo and I both were like, yeah, go out and have fun. Just don't be stupid. Don't put it on social media. We don't want fans because like fans are ruthless with
And
social
they'll
media, right? But
and because they're doing that, they'll think they don't care that they lost the
yeah,
game, right? And
yeah.
that's not what it's about.
And I'll never forget though. But I just said like try to keep it low key, and then like 2 hours later, it's all over Instagram. It's all over. It's one of the wives had to post it. You always have to post it, or it didn't happen, right? And like even like we're at concerts. We went to that Billy Idol concert a couple weeks ago. Uh, if there's a crowd of 5,000 people, 4,000 of them are filming the concert. Like, what are they doing? They going home and watching the concert on their phone again? Like, just enjoy things when you're there. And that's it's. I hate it. And I actually got rid of social media. I got rid of all my social media. Well, I only had Twitter. I've never had Facebook. I've never had Instagram or anything like that. But I got rid of Twitter, and I think people thought I did it because of bullying online. Like I don't know what I'm doing wrong with social media, but no one is bullying me online. That's for sure. Cause I probably don't follow the right people that I can see the messages, but I honestly just got rid of it. Cause I was like, what a waste of time. I'm spending too much time looking
Do
at
you know
Twitter
what's
and seeing what
you know
people like.
what's funny about all of this, and you say that though, is when we had our first meeting in Cardiff when I got there, and I've been in Germany and Denmark, and I'd never even thought to ever even bother with Twitter or any of that.
Yeah.
You like pushed us towards Twitter and said
Oh yeah.
it's good for our brand. And if you say the right things, you do the right things, the fans get to know you, you get to have some give and take with fans, and they'll get to know you more. And that was the only reason I got it. And then like realistically, it has a lot to do with why we're standing here now.
Oh yeah. No, it's honestly great for brands. It's great for sports teams because like people don't like, I mean, a perfect example. We put a story out last week about our, I don't know, it's basically our Challenge Cup quarterfinal against Sheffield, right? We try to simplify because people don't like long stories now. Literally in the story, it just says season ticket holders, you do not have to do anything. This game is included in your season ticket, right? We've probably had 100 people ask if the ticket's been included in their season ticket on direct messages on Twitter. So they've seen the story, they've opened the story, they read the first line, and then instead of reading the next line, they just like, I better message them to see if it's included because people's attention span is about 2 lines of text right now, because like people just don't read stuff anymore. They don't want to read stuff. They don't want to, take the time to look at stuff. And honestly, social media is great at the good times, but and that's like I have no issue with people bullying players or I actually don't. I think if you want to be a hockey player or want to be an athlete or whatever,
Part
you
of
got
the
to take the
game.
good with the bad. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it's part of the game. Like instead of them yelling at you, you always have a choice to not look at the comments, right? It's just people are addicted to their phones and they choose to look at stuff. I'm sure when we
People
score
are
goals and when
addicted to their phones, and
oh, it's
like with
embarrassing.
me
Yeah,
starting the shed, realistically, I look at my phone way too much now, but it's all for a purpose. It's like
yeah,
right before I started the shed, I had just decided I was gonna like kind of get off the phone. I was gonna not be on it as much. And then once I started this, it's mainly just setting up chats. But
yeah.
the phone has been, and social media has been very important that way to connect me with all these hockey
Oh,
dudes.
100%, and that's how you connect nowadays. And like the good thing is like to get in touch with people. Like even with the Continental Cup, we sent email after email after email to these teams, and finally, like 2 weeks ago, Katrina just tracked them all down on WhatsApp and started contacting the general managers on WhatsApp, and then everything started getting done, right? And that's how we did everything for the whole competition was on WhatsApp, which is, I mean, it's a great tool and everything. And but like, yeah, like I think if people realize that players read their comments, they'd
Mhm.
probably feel kind of stupid because there's a couple fans that like,
It's so mean. It's
oh,
so
it's
mean.
so
And
mean,
what
so
I
mean.
think of, it's like back in the day when the Maple Leafs would boo a player, the fans would
Yeah,
boo a player. And I think of that as the player. And I'm like, how could you possibly ever play good for that team?
yeah,
And it's like when these people say such negative things after one loss, say some guy makes a mistake, and I see some of the shit these fans, right? And I'm like, whether you tag him or not in that, he may see it. And why
yeah.
would you post that about a player you so-called cheer for? You're supposed to be cheering for him, and you're
well,
writing something like that about him?
they
Grow
just
up.
can't. But the funny thing is, people can't help it. Like they will tweet in the middle of a game, like "Devils power play sucks tonight. What a joke! Why did I spend my money on this?" And you're like, I'm like, aren't you at the game? Like you're at the game right now. The best. What I think is funny is
Enjoy
just
it. Sit back and watch.
yeah,
Maybe even stand up and cheer.
yeah, exactly.
Did you know
And
that cheering actually makes players play better? It's the
yeah,
opposite of booing and whistling, folks. It's like winning and losing. If you
yeah,
cheer for your team, they do
they
better.
will win. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I just think I think people don't realize like it's the same. What's funny? I think I should actually, if I had more time, I would do this. I would take every stupid comment some fans put, and then once a year on Bell Let's Talk Day, on Mental Health Awareness Day, it's the same people saying, if you ever need, my DMs are open. If you ever need to talk, like so, bully, 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 rip on people, rip on companies, but once a year, if you need to talk, my DMs are open. It's just garbage, garbage. So if you're
What?
one of those people
Yeah,
that
I
says my
agree.
DM, if you're nice all the time, hey, there's people on social media that are nice all the time, and then
Yeah.
there's people that are absolute pricks 364 days a year, and then one day a year they're, let's talk, open up to me, like be nice all the time. And you know what? It's not, fans can't help themselves. Like I've run into some of these fans, and it's like they don't know that I've seen what they say about us on Twitter, and yeah, it's ridiculous. It's just, and I can laugh about it because I'm not going to get that upset, because I realize the mentality of people on Twitter. Like I see it, like it's not just with us. It's like someone, I don't know, they go to Tesco and they order blueberries, and the blueberries have one moldy blueberry. I'm sure it happens once in a while, but instead of going back to Tesco and saying, hey, can I exchange my blueberries? They spend the next hour tweeting Tesco about how blueberries are a joke. And then someone will be like, I'm offended. I'm a blueberry farmer. And it just spins out of control. Like when did people should just complain to their friends like we used to? Like, do you remember you used to go in the locker room and you'd bitch and complain about like imagine if you put on the same, like imagine if people put on, like, oh, imagine if they, like the guys didn't like their post-game meal. So instead of telling me, they put on Twitter, like, what a joke.
What a joke, Todd Kelman.
Yeah.
Be better.
Todd Kelman's a joke. The pasta was too hard. I wanted al dente or al dente. And I feel like that's where the world's going. And like we don't need to know every single thought of every person that's ever experienced anything. Like I don't care. I don't care if someone, isn't enjoying the train ride to London, or I don't care if the bus was late. Like, call the number to complain. You don't have to DM everyone or tweet about it. It's stupid. Anyways, that's my rant.
You know what's interesting to me though is, like, we consider this my game days now, is I don't have people writing about how much I suck, and I thank you everyone, because in my social media world, it is mainly just positive stuff, and I think it's because I don't have a power play that can suck, and I can't really lose the games unless I say something really stupid, right?
Yeah. And if people think you suck, they just don't listen to you, because
right?
you're not.
You don't have to listen, folks. If you don't like me and you don't like my friends, don't listen to me. I'll be in the shed regardless.
Exactly. And you'll always find enough people to like you. But like that's other stuff. When I'm shocked when people do write comments about like how, like I remember one. I get a string of funny, like, I stopped even responding, but do you remember there was a couple dinners where I used to finish the season by reading out some of the dumb tweets that fans sent me? It's comical. It's comical. And me and Lordo used to laugh about it, because there's Franny has a theory. Franny's like, it's not a Devil season until someone told us it's the worst Devils team in history.
Ever.
I've had that this year. I've had it last year. I had it every year we won the league. I've had it every year. Every year I've been here. Same people.
The worst ever, eh?
Worst Devils team in history, and I think, really, are we the worst team in history? Because I
think we should move on, because I got that written down here is how much it's changed and the Devils' history, right? Like Neil Francis has been through a lot of it. I had him on with your new coach Dupes, and Dupes is a shed guy.
Yeah.
Really like that hire. Good job, Todd. You have shed approval. If you care.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Wow. And Franny's part of the furniture. He'll be here forever,
Yeah. So you moved him back out of the assistant coaching role and brought in a new fella, or I guess Brodie did.
Franny's still an assistant. Franny's an assistant coach, but yeah, like Franny this year said that he wasn't able to travel as much just because of work. Like, you got to think what he was doing last year. He was, going to Scotland, coming back, getting back at 6 a.m, going straight to work the next day, because he's got a real job that we all forget about, right? Because he puts so much time into the Devils. But he's still on the bench for home games right now. Not doing away games. He goes to a few away games, but we brought in Christian Horn, who's like he played in the East Coast League for a while as a college guy. I think he went to St. Lawrence, and Dupes played with him somehow. And he's been helpful. It is getting way more professional, right? Like,
yeah, man.
Full-time assistant coach. My goodness. So we also have a goalie coach we just hired. We haven't even announced it. We have he's sort of like, I wouldn't say part-time and I wouldn't say full-time. He's GB's goalie coach, and he's working with us now. He just started.
So Bouncy would have some experience with him.
Yeah. So we tried to hire him in the summer, and then he went to a team in Hungary, and then he left because I think there were some financial issues.
Those financial issues can happen all over Europe.
Yeah.
But like Franny is a Devil through and through. He's done every kind of role there is in the in the
Yeah,
organization.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he's done it all. He for sure has, and I mean, he's good. He's just a great guy. You know,
You ever
people.
zip it? You ever look back on like from 2014 when you take over to where it is now? Because like you guys were in the big blue tent. We were in cold tubs that were garbage bins. There were like power bars hooked up to get the equipment sharpener on and everything right by those cold tubs that are full of water. There were some unsafe things happening in that big blue tent. The sinkholes, all sorts of stuff. Foot of water in the showers, but like to where you guys are at now, to me, it kind of reminds me of like starting the shed in like episode 1 with Pigsy and like just shooting the shit and being like, I don't know what I'm doing. I just know I want to do this to like what's going on these days, right? Where there's chocolate bars all over the place and shit.
Yeah. No, we all talk about like it's funny because the guys that have been here a long time and remember those days, like we always laugh because like the guys that are just new and they see the setup we have and they see how nice it is and how well they get treated. We always just laugh like if they only knew, and we always say like garbage cans, taking cold tubs in the garbage cans. My office was literally a what was it? What do you call it? What are those things called? I don't know what they're called. It's like a shed, like a storage container. We had a storage container, and we had a couple storage containers, and that was our equipment room. That was our office.
That was also the spray painting booth.
That was the spray painting booth for you. Yeah, but I genuinely love those times. Like
that was hockey, man. That was hockey.
I loved them.
Have you had a player drive the Zamboni lately?
Our equipment manager now drives the Zamboni in the morning. Sometimes we taught him how to.
Because do you remember when Hoff did it in the big blue tent?
Hoff did it a couple times, and then and Lordo would be getting into it with the maintenance staff because they didn't show up for work on time. So I love that. I miss that stuff. There's so many that arena, that rink. You can't even call it arena. I loved it. I had such fun memories. If we'd stayed there, we'd be out of business because we could never make it financially work there. You just can't sell enough tickets to make
really?
it.
Like that was so much fun when they were like
was
four deep at the glass. God,
too deep. We don't like to go over the fire regs. There's a few questionable nights in the big blue tent with how many people we packed in there. We always said there'd be like there's like 4 or 5 people deep. I'd be like, no, 2 deep max.
Yeah,
I was always
we're just at the fire code.
Yeah,
just there. I've seen lots of arenas when winning is fun, and when teams start winning, like they just never quite go over that fire code max, right?
No, never. No one's ever been over the fire code. Yeah.
But it's pretty cool what's gone on in Cardiff for me over here at the shed to watch it from 2014 to now. Like you even have Hendricks hockey upstairs, training the kids.
Training the next generation. Yeah, doing a good job. So it's cool. Like it's cool to see how far it's progressed. And, like we've got a gym in the arena now. Hendo's got a shooting room. It's a big business now, it's exciting, but I don't know. I always have such fond memories of that first couple years. That first team will always have a special spot in my heart because I just think of the stuff that we had. We had married couples living together. We had people sharing cars. It was nuts. I just think like everything was.
But it was the people that we had on that team, and then that's
I don't know how we got that team.
Well, it's like talking with Davey Phillips and then Ben Thompson, the last 2 guys. They both of them just randomly said, if you can dig a ditch with someone all day and make it fun, those are the type of people you want to play hockey with. Yeah. Imagine digging a hole with Carl Hudson and Hendo. That's going to be a hoot. Doug Clarkson.
There's not a bad guy on that team, and like you can see those guys in 10 years and you haven't talked to them, and you know what? In fairness, I think we've had probably 8 of those years in Cardiff. Like there's different characters that have come and gone, but like the one thing I would say in Cardiff, and even last year, we had such a good group of guys. Like it's sometimes adversity unites a group of guys, and I think that's probably the case last year. And again, like even this year, like we had a Thanksgiving team party last night, and you can just see they're a tight group, and it's not just us. You look around the league, and I always like to see like the videos of teams like this, some of the stuff they're doing off the ice, and you can see how tight they are, and it is nice to see. Like we've got a real special thing in our league. You know,
I think
just a good.
Yeah, I think that was always something I had an eye for, was like you can tell which teams are teams. You play hockey against them, you see them walk out of the arena together, you see them interact in the lobby or wherever, and you can just tell which teams are teams.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so anyways, moving on though, is you did bring back your goat this year, eh?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, he's older and wiser. It's weird. Marty's one of the old
Isn't
guys
it
on the
weird
team
how they're all grown up now?
It's crazy. He's still, it's so funny because like I think when he was here the first year, how old would he be? But he's 34 now, so he would have been like 26, right?
He only played like a year or two in the coast, right? And then he came right over.
Yeah, but a 26-year-old Joey Martin's very different. We were laughing the other day because we were talking about like Joey Haddad that first year. 26-year-old Joey Martin compared to 26-year-old Joey Haddad. Joey Haddad was a raw 26-year-old, you know. just a funny. It's just so funny. This thing. We were talking about all the characters, like, and then you think like everyone growing up, like Chris Culligan just got his jersey retired by his team, right?
Sure did.
And I watched the whole ceremony. It was so cool to see how well he's done, and yeah, it's just interesting. Everyone kind of grows up, and
for me, it's crazy all the jerseys that have been retired. So for these posters behind me, folks, there's a lot of jerseys retired on that wall back there. A lot. And yours is one of them, eh?
Yeah. Retired my own jersey.
It must be a special day though when you see that go up. The last guy that just came to the shed, his just got retired in Germany, and really? I bet you there's 20 to 30 jerseys retired in my shed.
It's a cool thing. It is a really cool thing, and like for me, when they told, like I was GM in Belfast when they told me they were doing it, and it's funny because. Yeah, and you know me, so you know exactly how I'd be about it. So my two staff, the two guys I had working with me then, they both still they both still live in Belfast. I stay in touch with them, but one still works for the Giants. But they came to me and they said, "Hey, listen, they're going to surprise you and retire your jersey, and we're telling you because
we know you don't want to."
No, we said we'll know you want to organize it and tell us how to do it properly. So
kind of like a AAA hockey team.
Yeah, so basically. We're telling you, but act surprised when they tell you, but we'd like you to tell us what you want planned and who you want to come and all this kind of stuff. So,
well, that's a great idea though. If it's your night, it should be your night.
Yeah, exactly. And it was pretty cool. And then I left that was my last season there as GM. And then I left the next year, but it's cool to go back there and see it. It's always an honor. And I don't.
And it's beside 18 Walton, eh? Isn't that neat?
Yeah, I know. Isn't that funny? They retired your jersey without you even playing a game there.
I know. Thanks, Graham.
But the play. So one of the reasons why I had to start working out again was because a couple of years ago, I was there and one of our sponsors said, "Oh, do you have a brother that played in Belfast?" And I was like, "No, that's my jersey." And he said, "Oh, I didn't know you played hockey." And I thought, "Oh, okay, well, I better."
Don't worry. When people looked at my body when I got home, they didn't think I had played hockey either. Yeah, when I moved to a new town, and I'm like, I've played hockey overseas for like 10 years, and every person, they literally go up and down, and I'm like, I know exactly what you're thinking. You can just say it. Yeah, I don't look like a hockey player. I get it. Oh God. But you know what else is cool about the Devils now is they're even in video games.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
I don't have shut your mouth when you're talking to me. You don't know your Cardiff Devils are in the NHL video game?
I haven't seen. The last time I played a video game was Sega Genesis.
This is your brand.
94.
That's the best game
it
ever.
Must be through the Champions League, hey? Because they.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because you have to sign.
All the players play just like they do in real life, man. It's weird. It is weird.
I got to check it out then. My guys probably play video games. I'm sure they do.
Well, did you know that my son has created his own player? Number 14, Colby Walton, plays for the Cardiff Devils.
Future proofing that. That's a good idea. We should be signing Colby soon. How old is Colby now? He must be the same age as Mateo. 9?
He's almost 10. He's 10 in a couple weeks here.
Yeah. Do you remember we had the you remember we had the joint superhero birthday party for them
at the bowling alley? Gosh,
yeah.
you dressed as Batman.
Yeah, I did, and all the
I was
players did.
Venom.
And you know what's funny? Do you remember I prepaid for the photos and video? I still haven't seen the photos or the video.
No, that was a great night though, and that's when. So I think that's when teams are teams, though, right? Like we're having two. It was the second birthday or third birthday, right?
Third birthday, maybe 3
I
year
think it was the first year, and it's their second birthday.
Yeah.
But anyways,
yeah, okay.
we say we're having a superhero party at the bowling alley for our 2-year-olds, and gosh, pretty much the whole team came, and they came dressed up appropriately. Yes,
yeah.
That's hockey, folks. That's how teams win trophies.
Yeah, exactly. Tyson Marsh remember he came as Clark Kent with the tie, like comes sticking out in the air with the Superman shirt underneath. Yeah.
Well, that was when Hendo's Spider-Man outfit didn't come in the mail quick enough, but it did get some use later on that season. So.
Yeah.
We did walk around Cardiff Bay dressed as superheroes with my kids.
I remember that.
Because he said, well, I bought this thing. It doesn't come till after Colby's party, and now I have it. I better use it. So I'm like, well, I got an idea. Oh, gosh. Okay. You're going into the quarterfinals against Sheffield Steelers of the Challenge Cup. I heard you guys were sucking a big one there at the start of it. But so you moved on. You're playing the quarterfinals. Do not tell me it's still this 2-leg bullshit.
It is.
Whose idea is this?
Mine. No.
Why don't you play Friday? Why don't you play whoever has home ice plays Friday, Saturday at home, and then Sunday, if the team makes it to that third game, they get the home game. Why don't you play a best 2 or 3?
I'll explain it because this is Britain, this is the UK, and they do things like football, and it's Europe.
You're not playing football, and you guys are just trying to be different.
But the Champions League does it the same way. The champion does because it's the quarterfinals, semifinals are all two leg quarterfinal, semifinals, and the round of 16, and that's just how they do it. Like it's that European kind of football mentality. Like we couldn't organize, like you couldn't organize a best of 3 because you got to think of the schedule, right? So you've got arena teams, and this is what fans don't understand. You've got arena teams that have to book their dates in July, and so like. Even the Challenge Cup, like so Sheffield are taking a bunch of heat because they gave up the second leg, which like I know fans think the second leg of a 2-game series matters. It does not matter. It's 2 games. It
doesn't matter which game you play first. There are 2 games of hockey.
Doesn't matter.
No,
it doesn't matter. But people think that having the second leg is some advantage, right? So Sheffield,
like at home, they're saying that.
Yeah.
That's
yeah. So basically, Sheffield gave it up, and we're taking some heat from their fans. And the reality is we scheduled the 2 dates, right? So December 7th and December 14th were those dates, like the Wednesday or Thursday that week, and then the return leg the next week. And they just they had Disney on Ice or something, so they had to take
great
the first
show.
leg.
Been there,
yeah. And so that's it's really hard to fit these games in. So you'd have to designate a weekend when you could do the best of 3. But if a team doesn't make it, they've had to book off that weekend, and these venues have other stuff.
And they should play better.
This doesn't work. Yeah. But yeah, like it's pretty bad. Like the only thing I would like to change is the initial number of games you play to eliminate basically 2 teams. But we made it interesting by playing so bad in the first 4 games. So we did almost get eliminated. It's our own fault that we have to play Sheffield because we played so poorly in the first 4 games, but then we played great and won the next 4. But we were 0-4. And I mean,
basically, when I had someone on there, like, we're doing well in the league, but we're pretty well almost a write-off in the Challenge Cup. And now, it's all you gotta do is make the quarterfinals, right? Like that's
But you kind of hope you don't have to play, like
Sheffield
you play
the quarters.
Yeah. So, but we played them in the semifinals last year, and people said we didn't have a chance, and we played great and won that. So everyone's got a chance in the quarterfinals. It's an interesting one though because Belfast played Nottingham. We play Sheffield, so what people consider the big 4 are all playing each other, and then Guildford and Coventry are playing each other, and Fife and Dundee. So, which is great, I think. Actually, I think it's cool. So Fife and Dundee,
will be in the semifinals.
Be in the semifinals, yeah. So good for them. So it's interesting, and it is. I mean, that's why people say the first round of games are boring, but like the setup for the second round is pretty interesting. So
yeah, well, winning the Challenge Cup can be fun, right?
Absolutely, too much fun.
Have you been back to that hotel yet?
You've still got the band for life, Wally.
Oh
We'll
dear.
never be back.
Yeah, well, maybe let them know that me and the Sheffield Steelers get along now. Okay. NBA guys this year?
Two NBA guys this year, Trevor Cox and Ryan Penny.
Oh, nice. Well, good for them. They'll
Yeah,
be busy
yeah,
boys.
yeah.
I got sent a picture that me playing for the Devils is up on the wall at Cardiff Met, and it says
Still up.
alumni. That's
Yep,
cool.
still up. I think you're up. I think everyone's up. Most of the guys from the first few years are up. The last few, they haven't put anyone up. Brendan Mickelson, who's one of our players who did it last year, the only guy that did it last year, I believe he's starting a job with one of our owners now. I think he got a job with Acumen Capital with Brian. So
Is that right?
yeah, that's
Wow.
pretty cool.
Good for him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's nice when things work out like that, right?
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I just remember when we were going there and it was the first year at the Met, and you said, like, I want this to be a good relationship. You guys better not mess about, right?
And you know what it is? It's if you think of like probably some of our that's how we recruited all our top players every year, really.
Well,
You know?
it's a huge thing, and if guys have the opportunity to do it, Cam Brown,
Yeah.
you should do it, right?
Yeah.
Probably
Yeah,
like it at
absolutely.
Cardiff, Cam. Just thinking out
Yeah.
loud in my shed.
Yeah.
Are you ready to tell the killer story in the shed yet?
Nope. Nope. That's a couple
Keepers.
years away.
Okay. Well, when you get comfortable, you just let me know, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Why in 2002-3 did you play 16 playoff games in the EIHL?
Oh, that was a great year. Finally, it felt like the real playoffs. 16 games to eliminate one team, though, and then go to a Final Four. It was because we started that season with 8 teams and 3 teams folded. 3 teams folded. That was the final year of the Super League. So it was basically almost an all import league.
Yeah, I've
And
heard
this
about it. Yeah.
and I think that year Manchester. No, I'm trying to remember who finished. Bracknell finished, Nottingham, Sheffield, Belfast, and maybe Cardiff. Maybe that's who. No, maybe Cardiff didn't even finish that year. Maybe they went down. No, they didn't finish. I'm trying to remember who the other team was. I don't know. Sheffield.
So you played like a round robin of 16 games type thing for playoffs?
Yeah, so you played everyone. There was only 4 other teams, so you played every team 4 times in playoffs, and then the top 4 teams advanced. So I think Bracknell got eliminated, but like the league from Christmas on. Oh, you know who was in it? Glasgow was in it that year, and they folded that year too. So from Christmas on, you had 5 teams. So imagine, and I mean, it was a proper goon league back then, and you were playing the same team every second weekend because there was only 4 other teams, right? So every second weekend you were playing the same teams, and we had 3 or 4 tough guys. It was the toughest. The toughest. London was in the league that year, so it was London, Belfast, Sheffield, Nottingham, and
You guys won it.
Bracknell. We won the playoffs that year. We lost the league on the last day of the year by a point, and then we won the playoffs. And that was the first playoffs I won as a player. It was awesome. It's probably my favorite team I ever played on.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what's a funny story that just popped in my head talking about that Challenge Cup in that hotel, and we lost like 11-1 later that week, right?
Yeah.
And you said maybe like we shouldn't have had so much fun. And I say, well, when you win championships, you got to floor it because you're probably going to lose that next game regardless. These young fellas here in under 11 won their first tournament of the season, my Colby's team. Yeah. And they played the weekend. They win it on the Sunday. Well, schedule says they're playing a road game Monday night, regular season, right? Teams not as good as them. Well, went out there, lost 7-1. So they didn't even drink too much alcohol. It actually, winning championships, you do get deflated and do not have the edge the next game, especially against the team that you beat. So we were always going to lose that game.
Yeah, exactly. And that's it's part of the history. You know, if we'd had more
part of the history, I think we should have won the game at the end of the season in Sheffield when we lost like 2-1 and they lifted the trophy right in front of me. I want to kick them all in the balls.
Yeah, that's exactly. So,
but anywho, I thought it was a funny story. I was thinking of you when my son's team was just getting throttled. I was like, God, this is just like that day.
Yeah, you just can't tell teams to not celebrate. Like I remember, like.
You work so hard and like you don't know if you're going to win another trophy. If we don't have that night, think of all the stories we have just
night. Exactly. No, exactly. And no, I'm a big believer in that. So
2003-4, you had a 50-point season. Research
yeah.
team doesn't think that's normal.
Well, you'll
And
notice it went
also
from
because I've seen you take Juice Boy shots.
you'll notice that it went from the elite league, or went from the Super League all imports
Oh,
to play. So I probably went from playing 23 minutes a night to playing 45 minutes a night. So
just never leaving the ice.
no, the quality of the elite league that first year was not. It should not have been called elite league.
Right. It wasn't as elite as it is now. It is good
No,
now, though. The
no,
players you
it's
guys
good
are
now, but
bringing up. God.
that first year was not good. Not good.
Okay, well, here's a guy that was on a bunch of your teams there that when you said one of them was your favorite. He looks like he liked to muck it up. Paxton Schultz.
Paxton Schulte. You should have him on the shed. My God, he's a legend in British hockey. He was the most popular player in Belfast Giants history. No one was even close to him until Adam Keefe came along.
Is that
And
right?
yeah, like Adam Keefe has surpassed him because he's obviously what he's done as a player, as a coach.
Yeah.
It's always they love their tough guys there. But when I played, Paxton was only there for 4 years. They retired his jersey after 4 years. He was the face of the entire organization for those 4 years. They absolutely, like, from that era, he is, everyone remembers Paxton Schulte. Oh, I remember this guy, Paxton Schulte. I remember this guy, and he was something else. And he was tough, and he was tough, and he was a mental case at sometimes because he was like, a lot of tough guys they're emotional guys. They're such good teammates that they get caught up in. He'd be in tears after
Protecting.
games sometimes,
Yeah.
protecting guys, and he just cares so much. But I remember there was a year where we weren't sure because we were like, man, I don't know if we're going to bring him back. Like, this is our coach. It was like, I don't know if I don't know. Maybe that's it. Maybe we're done with Paxton. And Paxton called all of us and told us that if he wasn't back, he would beat us all up all season long, wherever he ended up playing.
Yeah.
And
And he
and
could probably.
yeah, and he could. And it was interesting. Like, there's a player that I would say had the similar impact to his organization in Cardiff, Brad Voth, who, like, you were
Yeah.
here, I think, when we retired. Brad Voth was so
I
popular.
wasn't there when you retired it,
Oh,
but I heard all about him.
oh, yeah. Legend,
Yeah.
legend.
Yeah.
I tried to sign him in Belfast every year. And Paxton was the marketing person's dream. He was big and tough, and he was great with fans, but he was a soft teddy bear. That was the thing.
Are you playing something? Are you playing with your tallywhacker down there?
Sorry, I was clicking my watch. I'll put it away. Sorry
Yeah.
about
Stop
that.
that.
And yeah, and I think Paxton would be a great guy to have on your show because people would listen to that guy telling stories. He was an interest. He played in the NHL a little bit, like played a few games in the NHL. Probably should never have been a tough guy, but kind of fell into the role because on a few of his teams, they probably didn't
I
have
had
the right
that
tough guy.
guy. Yeah.
And he just felt like, if you look at his numbers in Spokane, he was sick. He was I think he was a 50 goal scorer. So,
Really? Some of
yeah,
the like Hendo in the O, he was like an offensive D man. He was
yeah,
running
yeah,
power plays and stuff, and he
yeah,
had that in his toolbox too. But
yeah.
speaking of Kiefer, he's doing pretty good at the whole coaching gig, eh?
Great coach. Yeah. Very good
Mhm.
coach.
He was a
Um,
competitor on the ice, though. I say it all the time on
yeah,
here. I think he was the hardest guy I ever played hockey against. I had to know where he was at all times, and it always seemed my line was out against his line in that Dink
yeah,
Lloyd that would always slew foot. But Kiefer would like played the game as honest as you could, and he would muck it up harder than anybody.
yeah. Kiefer, again, it's strange because he coaches against probably our biggest rival, or he coaches for our biggest rival. He coaches for the team that I used to work for, that I love. I played and loved loved for years, and I would still list him as one of my top five favorite players that's ever played on a team of mine. I absolutely
Yeah.
love the guy. I would do anything for that guy. He'd be if he ever needed anything, if he ever needed me to dig a ditch for him, I'd definitely dig a ditch for him.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love the guy. Hate him during the season. Hate him
Yeah.
every time we play against him because he's so good at what he does now.
Yeah.
But man, that guy he was a warrior for sure.
So how was it like? Because you did love the Giants. They did a lot for you. They obviously bring you from a player to a GM. That day
Yeah,
you decide you're leaving and going to Cardiff, and then all of a sudden, like you love a new team, right? Like,
yeah.
and all of a sudden it just switches, just like that day, right?
Oh, it was hard. Like it's, and I still, you think of, I spent 15 years of my life in Northern Ireland, and I love the town, and I still have so many friends there. When I go back there, it feels like I'm going home. I love the country. I loved being on the island of Ireland. I loved going down to Dublin all the time. It's a great place. It really is. And the organization was top notch. And I grew up as a player. I grew up as a person, and had my first kid there. Everything. I love that place. And
Mm-hmm.
I've seen what they've done since the Odyssey Trust took over ownership. They've been able to pour money into the rink, and they've done a phenomenal job. And it's people that I played with and worked with that are running it still. Like Steve Thornton's one of my closest friends, and he's running it, and they've got a great setup there. And I hope Adam Keefe moves on very very quickly to some other
To a
league.
different league and somewhere else, and just leave you guys alone.
Yeah.
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 Okay. Then what's weird though? You've already been in Cardiff. This is your 9th season. That
I know.
makes me retired for a really long time.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. I know. It's
Time
and
flies.
it flies. And you know what? It's funny because Thornton and I talk about it all the time. We because he played in Cardiff for years before he went to Belfast, and we
Yeah.
kind of did a swap, and he always talks about Cardiff with such fondness, and I talk about Belfast, and we say we've both been very lucky because we got to work and play for what I think are the two best places to play in the league. Um, and that's not disrespecting places I've never played or towns I don't know, and everyone's probably got their different story, but I think Cardiff and Belfast are very similar. The countries are very similar in the sense that the people are so friendly, and they've got that not chip on their shoulder, but they've got that sort of like underbelly of being a smaller country in the north in the UK. They've got a
They
bit of
got their
bitterness to it.
yeah, a little, but a lot of pride, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And they're both very different than the other countries, and I've been spoiled getting to work and play for two great places. I genuinely love living in Cardiff. I think I'm very happy I made the move. Um,
Cardiff has everything you can want to have fun. Like, what else could you need?
oh, it's an awesome place. I feel like I could work for the tourist board in Wales. Like
Yeah.
if you love sport, Cardiff's got it's got great football. It's got great rugby. It's probably one of the best rugby stadiums in the world to watch a game live. You've got cricket in the summers that for some reason I tend to enjoy that I knew nothing about. It's like
Is
watching a
that right?
baseball game. And there's tons of stuff for kids to do. Like you had like when Colby was here, we had our kids in lots of stuff
Oh yeah.
um, and great schools. I can't say enough good things about here. Really,
Yeah.
it's
No,
awesome.
yeah. It's interesting how all this has started and that I ended
Yeah,
up in Cardiff, and it's just all
yeah.
interesting. But speaking of having the tough guy, and Paxton Schulte kind of got put in that role when maybe they didn't have it. You guys have had that guy for a while now. I never got to play with him, but Big Lou is Big Lou.
He's almost too tough. Like
Nobody will fight him.
seriously, nobody wants to touch him, and because he's honest. If anything, I wish he was a little less honest. I wish,
Right.
like, if
Yeah.
Lou had if Lou had played maybe like 10 years ago or 15 years ago, I think he'd be even more effective.
Because then you can just
um,
start fights for no reason.
for no reason, and he's so tough, and he's just. I mean, and I think if you took the toughness out of his game, he's still a great hockey player. Like he
I
skates
know.
really well.
When I always heard how tough he was, and then I got over for the testimonial, I saw him skate around and shoot the puck, and I was like, "What? This
Yeah,
is the tough guy?"
yeah, but like it's he's scary tough. Like like I think he one punched at the time who I thought was the toughest guy in the league, and that's when we were like, whoa, because he'd taken boxing lessons all summer one summer, and it was at Zach Fitzgerald, and he just kind of one punched him, and we were all like, oh my god, and then after that, no one really wanted to even fight him, and really like I've seen him have to deal with a few things, and he deals with it. Like he'll go over and be like, if you touch someone again, but like if there was no dops, Lou would be running amok as
Mm-hmm.
you he would
Yeah,
he'd be face washing guys, he'd be throwing guys around. Like
I
when
miss
Josh,
that shit. Right?
oh yeah, you should have seen Sunday's game against the Latvian team. They the Latvian team, I don't think anyone's ever taught them how to hit. They were just running guys from behind every hit, running from behind. And this is after we watched a video from the IHF about like checks from behind and how dangerous they were. This is part of like what you had to watch before the tournament. And they clearly didn't watch it, or they thought it was an instructional video on how to hit, because they were running guys from behind, and it got to the point where our coaches were like, this has to stop, or we're going to have to do something about it. And you can't fight in those leagues, but I mean, there was a lot of wrestling after whistles. The fans loved it, but like Lou had to like hold the guy up like by the neck and kind of give a talk to him.
And let him know what was up.
I don't think Lou speaks Latvian, but I think he understood.
It.
Yeah, I think he got it. So.
Yeah, that's interesting when hockey can make the rules to take away that side of the game that, like, I think that side's important, that you have to keep players honest. You have to keep people from slew footing people, hitting from behind. Like, I know Lloyd
I think the world
do it because Keith was on his line, but like,
but also the reason why Lloyd could do it, and I mean, I loved having Daryl Lloyd because he was effective. But yeah, like if there was DOPS nowadays, like, or back then,
do that. Yeah,
there was no video reviews back then, or maybe they were limited. I don't know. I don't remember them being like as formal. But now I actually think sometimes people leave it up to DOPS to sort out. And I was a big fan of the self-policing, and I never want to see a guy get beat up, right? But no. it kept you honest. Like, there's a lot of guys that run around that wouldn't run around if they knew that someone could actually do something. And you know, when I played, when teams had 2 or 3 tough guys, the game was more honest. I'm telling you.
Oh, it was. With that year, 2014-15, I thought that was hockey, man. Our team in Cardiff, we had 5 or 6 guys that could chuck them. But it was all honest there. Like, and a lot of it happened through passion. But like, if somebody did do something stupid, there was a fight over it, and then we'd carry on. Nobody had to get suspended. We'd keep playing.
Yeah. And I think sometimes nowadays there's such a like I mean, you could watch any hockey game with video analysis after a game, and you could find 10 missed penalties for both teams, right? And some coaches do that. They'll send in video. What about this trip? I mean, I've been at board meetings where people bring in, like, what do you think? Was that a trip? Was that a hook? And you're like, yeah, but it happens in the speed of the game. Any of us can be great referees when we, just like great players. You know how much better of a player I am watching high above, seeing how the game develops, thinking how much time so-and-so has, or this guy was open on the power play. It's the same with referees. Like, if you watch a game afterwards in slow motion, you'll find trips and hooks and slashes and slew foots. But in the speed of the game, refs miss stuff. Refs, it sounds like I'm defending refs. And
you should. But they do their best.
Referees are not out to screw a specific team. If that was the case, every team ever has thought the referee is screwing them. And oh my God, we got screwed by the refs tonight. Oh, they were terrible tonight. Both locker rooms are saying the exact same thing. No one ever says, oh man, we lost 4-1. But you know what? Those refs were fair tonight. They did a great job. I'm going to go shake the hand of the referee. No, because something has to, like, it's always, they're going to miss something. Like, they're going to miss an icing. They're going to miss a late hook. They're going to miss some. It happens every single game at every level. Do you think the NHL, they're all sitting there going, well, we're in the NHL now. At least the referee's perfect, you know?
Well, no, it's a thankless job too, right? That's why I've had a bunch of them in the shed, and they are shed guys, and they are passionate about hockey. They want to be part of a great game. And like, I mean, that's thankless. Like, you're right. They can ref a great game and nobody's going over to congratulate them. I always found that interesting because I need to win or lose.
Yeah. Do you know what's funny? When I was growing up, I can remember, like, my dad, like anyone who's played pro, they probably had, their dad was a bit psycho as a hockey dad, right? You kind of got to be a bit psycho to be a hockey dad.
I don't feel psycho, and I don't think my old man was psycho. He just
my dad was.
Really?
Was your dad, was he passionate? Did he yell at refs, that kind of thing?
No, he just stood there and watched like I do.
Okay, so my dad, like most dads I knew, had a bit of like anger at him, and he was coaching, and we were young. We were like 10, maybe 8, and my dad was losing at the ref, and he threw a water bottle at the ref.
Holy moly!
And
Joey Martin type shit.
yeah, and at the end of the year. The parents presented this framed water bottle. It's still on my dad's office at home. This water bottle that was framed and said, like, memories, and it had the date of the game.
That's awesome.
Do you know who the referee was that night? My brother.
Shut up.
Yep.
He threw a water bottle at
At my 13-year-old brother.
Well, you got to be better, right?
You got to be better.
I did get kicked out of an under 11 game last year.
There you go.
But all I did was put my arms up in the air. We were going to have a breakaway. So the guy didn't dive, doesn't fall down. But like there was contact, took away all his momentum. So then we don't get the breakaway and the guy doesn't call it. So I went like this. I put my arms up.
Booted out.
Apparently you can't do that. So anyways, later in the shift, they called 2 penalties, coincidentals, and he's put them in the box. And I said, is it 4-on-4? And he goes, you're out of here.
He probably just heard the F. He just heard the F and thought something else was coming out of your mouth. So.
Because of the arms up. But I actually do not lose my temper. And I was quite calm and was just enjoying the match.
That's good. That's
good. I don't know
just
if it's 4-4. I'm almost done here. Gotta go to the real world here. But Juice Boy, does it still happen?
Yes. I don't know. Well, it still happens. I don't know if people. I assume people still buy like drinks, like buy like Coke or Pepsi or Orange Crush.
It used to be like you just had to go give the juice out, right? But like, do you remember when Richie was spray tan boy?
No, I didn't know that. He had to get spray tan because
he lost spray tan boy.
See, I love that stuff.
I know.
Yeah, that should be a requirement. But no, they still do shootouts at the end of practice. I don't really stick around to see what the.
So you're not lacing them up anymore?
No, that those days are gone. That was only a couple times, and then I realized how bad I was, and I just stopped doing it. So.
Well, I watched it. It was pretty feeble. But so you can pass this on to a few of your players that my wish is for them to come meet me in my shed. I'd like Jake Kugler to come meet me.
Okay.
People say he's a player. Okay.
Great guy. Yeah.
Brodie Reed knows how much I want him in my shed, but I didn't score in the testimonial when he passed it to me. And he said if I score, well, I just feel like I don't even deserve him because he said if you score the shift and we win the game, I'll come to the shed. And he set me up back door and I messed it up. So tell him I'm sorry and I'll be better if he comes. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I did have on Thompson though. He's from Listowel. He's from my neck of the woods.
Blake Thompson. Yeah. He's a good guy. Hey, are you coming back for Batchy's testimonial?
I haven't heard anything yet, but I kind of like, I don't even know if I could pull that off, man. Like I did just go to Matthews and like I should maybe mix in like a family trip, right? So
yeah, true.
But that is happening, eh? When's that date? Is that during season?
It's May. It's like after. No. It's after the World Championships. I think it's the end of May.
And so what is he doing? Similar to Matthew with like 4 teams?
Yeah.
Dudes?
I honestly don't know. I don't know. But we just kind of announced the date. I should know the date, but I don't. I think
I tell you, it sure is fun. That's a weekend that's a memory that I'll have for the rest of my life. Tons of shed guys, great recruiting trip too. And that I get that Matthew like appreciates me being a teammate and brings me back. And like, if anybody remembers, he was my centerman when I turned my season around, right? I had a guy that would go muck it up in front of the net. And that's what I need. I need a guy that gets his butt cheeks and goalies' faces, you know?
There you go. That's Matthew Myers for sure.
And he liked giving me
still doing it now. Still doing it now.
I know. We were a great fit though, you know? And those are one of those things where you can put your roster together however you think it's going to work out. But then once you get there, and some teams just work differently with different people on different lines, right?
Yeah.
The Crawford looks like a player too. Plus 17.
Oh, he's good. Yeah. He's a really good player. Very talented hockey player. Great skater. Really good on the PP. Yeah, he's good. Yeah, we're good. I think we got a lot of really talented players this year. We do.
Well, and I know how this works. You can't say too much nice things because then you're going to have to pay them more. So, right?
You know me. Jesus.
No, but seriously, thanks for making the time for me to come back to Shed.
No problem.
I do miss you, and I miss everybody over there.
We miss you too.
It's kind of fun that it's kind of fun to do this, so I do get to see people. You know?
Yeah. No, it was good, and I'm hoping that I get more listens. I probably will never get more listens than Dave Sims, but
you are. I never mentioned that you are in 3rd place. He's the only one ahead of you. You know?
Really? Okay. Yeah. Well, hopefully this one
So maybe if
really
you're not on Twitter,
listen.
but if you could get whoever does the Cardiff thing to then like say retweet or tweet that you did come on, that would really be supporting the shed, and that would probably might get you over Simsy.
Might put me over the edge. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a simple tweet.
Right? We'll do it then. We'll do it.
Because I'm going to send this, and as soon as it downloads, she's gone.
Okay. So it goes out tonight.
I do. Oh, yeah. Right away. Just send her. There's no editing team still, but I do need to figure out when I can get my family over to Cardiff. I do need to get Colby and Zoe over there so they can meet all the folks that are so nice. You know?
Yeah. No, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea.
But it's crazy when you look at our schedule and the kids' hockey schedules, and I'm coaching, and it's like, jeepers, there ain't much time to fart or anything.
That's probably why you got to think of Batchy's testimonial, maybe, because it's in May. You know, get the kids out. May. You know, nice little spring trip after the hockey season's over. Mm-hmm. End of May. Beautiful Cardiff weather.
Right. Cardiff is fun all the time, though. Right.
Yep.
What a time that was. When I left you at the room, we went to the oyster catcher with Pigs, Deese, and Hendo, and it was like we were right back in 2014, man. It was wild.
I can only imagine.
Good times. And this has been another episode of Zero Ales and Hockey Tales with Killer and Wally.